What's going on? In this video, I'm gonna give you a tour of my fully rigged out Canon EOS M. I'm gonna talk about all the parts I used in this, why I used them, and of course show you some footage I shot with this rig. Now, if you haven't seen them already, I've made a few videos about this camera actually on this channel as well as my other channel, which I'll link all of them down in the description. But this is pretty much my full rig that I use with the EOS M for shooting Magic Lantern RAW video. So if you're into building bigger rigs like this is gonna be perfect. However, if you're more of a small rig type of person, especially with the EOS M because it's such a small camera, this probably isn't gonna be that helpful to you because, I mean, you can obviously see this is a pretty rigged out system I have. So just keep that in mind. If you're looking for a really small and compact EOS M rig, this is definitely not gonna be a good option. But first things first, of course, the camera in here is the Canon EOS M. This is the original EOS M. You can install Magic Lantern on it and shoot up to like 5K 12-bit RAW video, as well as 14-bit 1080p RAW video, and a bunch of options in between, as well as a bunch of video assist features and photo features, and it basically unlocks just a huge amount of potential with the Canon EOS M camera. However, if you're watching this, you probably already know about all that and you're just looking into building a cinema rig like this. So with this rig, the cage I use is actually a universal small rig cage. It has these 15mm rods that kind of go up on each side, which are really nice for attaching stuff, and it actually connects to the hot shoe as well as the 1/4x20 thread on the bottom of the camera, so it really tightens on the camera so it doesn't like slide back and forth and twist around. But that's the cage I use, and then of course on each side I have these side handles attached to these 15mm rods. So on the right side I have a small rig wooden grip with a rosette mount. This one is super nice, super comfy. And then on the left here I have a UU rig side handle which basically threads onto 15mm rod as well. Then on the top of the camera right here I have a small rig top handle which basically bolts right to the top of the cage. And then mounted to that I have an iFootage Spider Crab magic arm connected to a Feel World ultra bright monitor. This is a 7-inch monitor. So this monitor is really big and it's really bright, so it's super useful for shooting outdoors, which of course the built-in screen on this camera is not that good for. And then just a basic HDMI cable attached right to the side of the camera. So now working our way forward, I have the Sigma 18-35 lens on here with a Viltrox adapter. It's one of my favorite lenses to use on APS-C cameras, and it's just one of the most versatile lenses you can get. Then on the front of the lens, I have a Freewell variable ND filter. And last but not least, in terms of the lens in the front of the camera, I have this small rig follow focus right here, as well as a focus gear on the lens, but smaller follow focus works really well. And one more thing, actually I have a lens support right here to kind of help support the lens, make everything a little bit more solid and steady, and that is a small rig lens support down there. Then all that's attached to a small rig 15mm rod base plate, as well as these, I think they're 12-inch 15mm rods. Now this isn't a part of the rig really, but it's all attached to my Komodo K7 fluid head from iFootage, as well as the Giselle TC9 tripod for my footage. All right, so now to start moving our way towards the back of the camera, I have a dummy battery plugged into the camera right here, which plugs into the Sony NPF 970 battery with a USB port on the side. And so I can get a bunch of runtime out of this camera and not have to worry about swapping out batteries, especially because this cage kind of blocks the battery door. So you can't really swap batteries with this cage without having to take the bottom plate off, which is a little annoying. So having a dummy battery is definitely a must. And that's attached to a small rig NPF base plate that attaches right to the 15mm rods. And in the back I have this padded small rig like shoulder mount. I have it set up vertically right here so I can kind of push it against my chest or my shoulder to get really smooth footage and get kind of a third point of contact when I'm shooting handheld. And then attached to that up here I actually have this Comica AX3 Xlr Audio Interface. And so this is a way to pretty much get really high quality XLR audio into this camera. So I have that directly feeding into the 3.5mm mic input on the side of the camera, and then I have a Samson CO2 microphone connected to that, and it's pretty much just connected with this ball head on this left side handle right here. And I think that pretty much covers everything on this rig. I kind of have this set up for just ease of use, and of course all this makes this a pretty heavy rig, which means you're going to get a lot more stable, a lot smoother footage while shooting handheld, and you're going to be able to get that more like cinematic handheld look without getting all those micro jitters that you get from pretty much just holding a camera handheld or having a really small rig. And for me, this is pretty much the perfect setup. Like I said, a lot of people like to have smaller setups that are a lot more portable, a lot easier just to bring around with you, and this definitely isn't for that. That's pretty much it for the tour of my EOS M cinema rig here. Like I said, I have a couple more videos I made about this camera that I'm going to link down in the description. Definitely check those out if you're interested. But that wraps this video up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.